This is Papa Smurf. You're listening to Our Lifestyle, the podcast, with ODB and the Mayor.
Yo, it's Our Lifestyle Podcast coming at you guys with another episode. We're on 302. I can't even keep up at this point. We want to thank everyone for continuing to come back here. I'm going to try to link up with Mickey Mike the Bear this week, but I know that he has been kind of inundated with his side businesses and doing his own thing, so we'll have to see what happens. I'm on target to record with some good people this week. That will be for some upcoming episodes. So again, thanks for coming back, episode 302. Much appreciated. Now, we want to thank at the top Custom Car Show Productions, including Scraping the Coast, Bayou Showdown, which is under that umbrella, and of course, Orange Beach Invasion. Shout out to the entire family. Their next event is the weekend before Thanksgiving. It's going to be in Slidell, Louisiana. OLP will be there. Come on out and rock with us. So this episode, I think what we're going to end up doing is, I think I'm going to take you guys down a little bit of a story at the end where I talk about my mini trucking history. Okay, and it goes back really to 25 years ago this month. Of course, I was reading the magazine back that I can remember as back as like 93, Truckin, mini truckin sprinkled in there a little bit, but really getting my truck in August of 97. I've been wanting to do this, so I think I'm going to bring you guys through that story. So I appreciate everyone that will kind of listen through this episode. If you're a new listener, make sure you follow and or subscribe. Now, because Miggity Mike the Mayor is out, I think we're going to try to call Riggedy Ruben and see if we can get him on the Booka. He's been super busy, so let's get him on the horn. I'm going to call him now. I got this old home phone here. I got to do the little rotary dial deal and then see if we can get him on the phone. Yo, so I just dialed Ruben on my old rotary phone here, and I think I got the Booka on the phone. How you doing, my brother?
Jay, I'm doing great, man. Happy to be back on. It's been a hot minute since I've been on.
You've had some good stuff going on. We'll talk about some of it. We want to thank CS Metalworks. I've continued to tell everyone, of course, you're there right now, but shout out to Chris, you, the entire team there that brings together so many awesome rides. You can go to CS-Metalworks with a KS, so metalworks.com. You can also find CS Metalworks on Instagram. Hit them up if you need air suspension products, airbags, valves, AccuAir, you name it. Ruben, you guys are slinging it all day, every day.
Yeah, even on weekends, man. Even, after hours, we are here. Chris really burns the midnight oil here.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man. You can't be an over-the-top shop unless you're coming off the top rope. So we know Chris, he can come off them top ropes.
You sure can.
Well, man, I've been wanting to link up with you a little bit. Before we jump into talking about some of the stuff you've had going on, you had texted me, this last episode recap, you had texted me after the Alan Paradise audio, and I really appreciate, the good word, and, we've become great friends over the course of time, but it was pretty cool to hear from the man himself that commissioned the original OG mini trucking logo, huh?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think I've ever met him in person, or maybe I have, and I'm just, getting old here and just don't remember. But wow, that's got to be up there in my top 5 interviews that you've done, man. And wow, that's all I can say is, I think I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to that one. Just, there might have been something I've missed, but man, that man, that he is a staple in our scene, no pun intended.
Yeah, for sure. And, rest in peace to his dear friend, Steve Stillwell. Of course, we gave a little nod to Steve, and but I appreciate the good word. But, we always say, it always goes back to all the enthusiasts, the early builders in our scene from, late 60s, 70s, 80s, of course, and 90s and beyond that kind of make this scene of ours go round. So, thanks for the good word. The last episode recap brought to you by, of course, Lone Star Throwdown. Although they are sold out for the show vehicles, you can still fly into Lone Star Throwdown. It's the last weekend in February. We'll see you in Conroe. But dude, man, like, so you've had a lot of good stuff going on, right? I mean, I don't want to, maybe go into all of it, but like, you got this new relationship, CS Metalworks, you're hustling out there, but you're enjoying your time in California as well, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I'm here close to my son, and he just had a birthday. Turned a big 16. Well, I'm not going to say I surprised him, but I did buy him a car. It's his now. I gave it to him on his birthday, and he's stoked because of that. He just started school yesterday. He started his junior year, and I got to get him his license, so he could be driving this car. And he's got an Amazon list of of the stuff he wants to do in his car. Now, it's not a mini truck; it's a Miata. He likes the tuner stuff, so it is an import. So I get it. That's the stuff he likes, and I'm not knocking him. I'm just glad that he's enthused about cars in general. So, that being said and all, I did tell him, I'm like, okay, before we start, tricking the thing out and whatnot, and we're gonna make it safe and sound. So he's got an Amazon list of basic wear items that need to be replaced, and maintenance stuff that we need to get to. But I bought the car from a guy here at the shop that had actually two Miatas. It's a 1990 Miata, and I don't know what it is with this kid, but that's what he wanted, and he wanted to static dropped, and the car is on coilovers with, I think they're 15.8 reversed wheels, some Japanese wheels, and the car was actually at one point a track car, so it's got a bunch of performance stuff already done to it, and a bunch of performance parts already on it. So the car is still street legal and whatnot, but yeah, he's excited about it, and you know what, that makes me excited. So we got that going on, and personal life couldn't be better. I got my passport. I'm going to be doing some traveling here pretty soon in the next month or so, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, what a better way to end out the year, doing a little traveling, and then we got SEMA coming up, and we're finishing a build here at the shop that I think is going to turn some heads, or at least we hope so. And, life is good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. And if you think about going back to the Mazda Miata, think about how we all think the Mazda B-Series pickup is so popular. The Mazda Miata, I just went through, it's going to post before this episode, but on our YouTube channel, issue 67 of Mini Truckin Magazine. And ironically, you have a tech article in there. How crazy is that? But there's also a tech article in there where they do Mazda Miata door handles on a truck, and that's still a mod that you'll still see here and there.
Right, and I believe that was on Tom Letz's Blue Mazda, if I remember right.
I think.
And then the
tech
article, the tech article that you're talking about, I think we did that over at Brian Gendro's shop.
Yeah, the chop shop.
If I remember.
How ironic. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, you said you got a big kind of something you guys have been working on at CS Metalworks. And again, you guys can check out CS-Metalworks with an S. They're on Instagram as well. Send them a DM. And if you need parts, Chris will do the best he can to help you out. But that's a good thing, right? Because there's a lot of good going on in the world. There's some crazy stuff always, but I try not to get caught up with the crazy stuff because there's too much fun. Whether it's a relationship, a build, your son. I mean, dude, the big 1-6 for Jacob. I mean, Preston, he looks like he's 22. He's going to be 16 in October. I mean, dude, these kids are towering, man.
Right. I mean, man, you get it. I mean, my kid's taller than me. My kid's bigger than me. It wasn't that long ago when I was taking this kid into part stores or places in a stroller.
Yep.
And I mean, it wasn't really, honestly, it wasn't that long ago. And or having to carry a diaper bag, and but now it's like I have these like grown up conversations with him, and it's just a trip, and I know you get it. I mean, we have these conversations all the time about kids and life and whatnot, and it's a great time. It's a great time in my life, and I know as well as your life. So, life is good.
Oh yeah, and although I was a little sad that Jacob didn't get a B2000 or 2200, I already told Mike he's got a Mazda and he's coming for him, dude. Chrome, billet, you name it. I said you guys might be in the same class one day, Mike. You better go running.
No, and I'll be honest with you, like shortly after I got him this car and we went to go see it and we drove it and I made the deal and everything, and he hit me up that he wanted a Toyota pickup, an 89 to 95, like my white truck.
Yeah.
And I'm all, dude, here I am, I find you a car and I make a deal and I get it for you, and now you want a truck.
Yeah, you're like, that's my truck. You're like doing the Debo. That's my truck, Jacob.
yeah. But we'll do this thing for a couple of years and whatnot, and make it into something, turn around and sell it. I mean, that's what I did.
Yeah,
so
sure.
if that's really something the kid wants, well then, we'll work at it. And of course, I'll help him, I mean, yep. But again, it's that fire that he has, and all day I'll get IMs or text messages and like, hey Dad, look at this, or he'll send me something on Instagram of a link on something, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, or I know the truck or whatever. So, that just, again, it makes me happy that he's happy about it and he finds interest in it.
Hey, I dig it, man. I really do. And if you think back, I want to give a huge tip of the cap to all my Severed brothers and sisters descending upon Severed in the Midwest, right? And NC just had their 30th at Slamboree. And, of course, last year we've said many times RA celebrated their 30th. But if you would have thought back, right, to the early days, even before the infancy of Relaxed Atmosphere, you're talking 89, 90, into 91, who would have thought, 30-plus years later, you'd still be playing with trucks, man? I mean, that's a passion, ain't it, Ruben?
Right. Before anything, congratulations to you guys and Severed on, your anniversary and, and all that. And you guys deserve it. You guys have been around a long time. And who would ever thought? I mean, we were just stupid kids messing around with these trucks and, getting kicked out of parking lots late at night and, so-called troublemakers. But look at us now. I'm in my mid-50s and I'm still playing with trucks, and same with all these other guys that were, again, we were kids back then.
Yep.
But we've kind of found a niche for ourselves. That's dude, that's cool. That's exciting. That's awesome. Who would ever thought?
Well, think about this. In a new upcoming Street Trucks, I kind of write about the little thing I always say, time flies, right? We all kind of use that. It's I forget what they call it, but it's just one of those, American little sayings. I think it might be said around the world. I don't know. But, you hear me say it all the time. But I think it's true, and I kind of go down that bunny trail a little bit in Street Trucks Magazine, upcoming issue. But it is crazy to think how fast time flies. And, doing these flip-throughs, I appreciate you. You had given me some intel. We just had the white Toyota on the cover when we were doing that flip-through. But the ironic thing is that if you think back and all these people, we don't get thousands of streams, we're growing our channel still. But, if we get 50, 100, 150 people that watch one of those flip-throughs and they go, oh, my God, I remember. That's my buddy. I remember that day. Like, we're so fortunate that, like, Shartsis and all these editors captured all that gold for us because we, that's kind of our, I don't want to say Bible, but that's what we can look back to. That's our history,
Right. And, and those were the different times. I mean, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't, no one, you were lucky if someone, remembered to get a throwaway camera or had a 35 millimeter camera or you were lucky enough to get a picture in one of the magazines. And, that was pure luck, but it was definitely, I was lucky to be around back then and to have, people like Mike, to call my friends and whatnot. And, dude, I've said it once and I'll say it again. It was just a great time to be around and be alive and be a kid. And, unfortunately, we'll never have a time like that, especially now with technology and whatnot. And whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but, just think now, everything gets recorded. Everything has, there's evidence of everything, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just glad that a lot of the stuff that I lived through, personally, wasn't caught on camera.
Yeah, thank goodness we didn't have cameras, phones back then.
Yeah, as the saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Not anymore.
I know, right? I mean, Hank's always on TMZ, Hammer and Hank from Hammer and Weekend, where, dude, they're jumping out of like bushes trying to get photos of him, but he's kind of like the he what was that crazy guy that was in the flying and aviation and all that stuff, and DiCaprio played him in a movie. Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes. That's one of that should be. Dan, you should have saved that one for Mike, but too bad it's not an 80s movie.
I know, right? But yeah, Hank's kind of like the Howard Hughes.
He wouldn't have saw it anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Hank has been texting me saying that, hey, he appreciated everyone that went on HAMMERD weekendwear.com and ordered the new shirt, so he wanted me to tell everyone that. But yeah, no, it's been cool that you kind of got your own thing going. You've had some good life changes, but you're also kind of looking towards the future, and I hope your parents are doing well. I know, they're, all of our parents aren't getting any younger, and, I wish the best for them. You know what I mean?
Thank you for asking. My parents are older. They've had their health issues and whatnot, but it's funny the way life works out sometimes, and in that aspect, it's worked out for the better because I am here closer to them. So I see them every morning. I stop by the house every morning, and I have coffee with both of them. So I do get to see them a little bit more frequently now, and same with my sister and whatnot, and her kids, and so in that aspect, I am thankful for that. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Chris, obviously running the shop, it's not easy, and I think Ludacris is there too, right? The powder coating and stuff, so you guys team up really well. But, you start thinking about kind of mid-August, right? Kind of midway through that third quarter, we're starting to get sideways, unfortunately, kind of into that Q4, right? But that's the time that the hair starts sticking up on shops, right? Like Chris and all this, because, you got the little anxiety going with these builds. I know you can't give away a lot, but do you have that gut feeling that this said build in the shop that's kind of deep cover, that it's going to potentially make its debut anytime soon?
Well, we've had the chassis out at a few shows, and we've shown it off, and it's no secret. It's a 62 C10 that we're building for a customer that Chris has actually had it in his possession for the last, I believe, going on 5 years. And it was originally going to be just a driver, just a patina driver, and when Chris got it, it was beyond unsafe. So first and foremost, he went through a lot of the safety portions, stopping and braking and starting and running, and to the point where it wouldn't catch fire and wouldn't leave them stranded. And then it just snowballed from there. And full chassis, and then I believe the cab got switched out and a bunch of rot repair, and before you know it, full build. And that's where we're at now. We're finishing the body work. The frame's been done for a while. It's been a roller for a while, and we're doing the final body work on it, getting ready for paint. It will be at Dino's and possibly SEMA, so we're still working on all that.
Excellent. And I've been trying to get Mike to ship his truck out there to Chris and get a cab flown in from Australia, start from scratch, full frame, billet everything. But, Mike's he's slacking on his macking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, hey, we can make it happen. Just bring it out here.
Mike, let me borrow your credit card. I got an idea.
Credit card? That boy's got cash.
Yeah, he's got cash, dude. He hangs out with Hank, dude. I mean, I see him with duffel bags. They used to call themselves the duffel bag boys, man. I don't know what that meant.
Right? It's funny, man. I don't know what happened, but Ron had to ship Hank out to the Midwest somewhere, and and I've been getting text messages about getting in the middle of both of them and talking to Ron about shipping Hank back up to the Northwest, and I don't want to get in the middle of that.
Yeah, well, shout out to Craig Braid from our Pacific Northwest Connect. He was just at Cruise of the Pines, and I think there's a connection there. I think DB Cooper, I think it was like CB, and somehow the name got switched, and maybe Hank, because Hank was a paratrooper back in the day. That was how the story went. So, I kind of don't want to talk much about it because, there's a lot of heat on that whole deal, but you just never know.
They sure look alike. If you look at some of those sketches and you see some of those pictures of Hank, there are a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, those glasses. Dude, he's got the same glasses, dude, like frog skin sides, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Custom made.
Just said.
Well, listen, before I let you go, Mike did text me. I know he had a super long day, and he's going to be gallivanting midweek over to Orlando, camping, doing all the fun stuff, right? But I do got one question for you, Ruben. If we were to ask you the trivia question, okay, Mike's down to a quarter of a tick mark. If he misses this, he's going to have to start paying 100, okay? So I think we're going to have to ask you the trivia since Mike is ditching us again.
Okay, I'll play.
Now it's time to get serious.
All right, so check this out, dude, okay? I know you like hip-hop just as much as I do, right? So I'm going to run this one by you really, really quick here. So check this out. This was the fourth single by this rapper. So this was his next album, and a lot of people kind of didn't really feel his previous album, right? So he comes back out, and he's got this new album that he drops on September 14th, 1990. So we're kind of getting within that scope, about a month out, right? So back in 90. Now, I'm going to give you, believe it or not, you remember this, Ruben, when albums had more than one single. Okay, this one had 5 singles. I can't give you the name of one of them. But number 1 was To the Break of Dawn. Number 2 was The Boomin' System. Number 3 was one of my jams, Around the Way Girl. Number 4, I can't give you the title because it would give away the album name. Number 5 is 6 Minutes of Pleasure, one of Hank's favorite songs, So I Hear. Okay, so you got to give us, this is for a tick mark for Mike. He's going to owe us 100 if you don't get it. You got to give us the album name, and we're not going to let you off the hook, Ruben. You got to give us the artist as well.
You're kidding, right?
No.
You don't think Mike could get this?
Dude, I think the only thing that Mike liked was the cover of it because it kind of was like masculinity type stuff. And I'm kind of, I'm like, that's not my thing.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if I kind of gave you enough. The only other thing I'll tell you, and I know you know I'm a fiend for this stuff, Marley Marl was like the main producer of the album, pretty much everything on it, and he's one of the best ever. But do you have any idea? Think back to that era, dude. I remember watching the video from Around the Way Girl. They got all the denim on. They got the airbrush on the back of their jackets, dude. That was the shit, dog.
Okay, all right. I'll paint this picture for you. Back in 1990.
Okay.
I was doing mini trucker shit with my friends, and I had my extra cab Toyota.
All right.
Hanging around friends in Orange County, who did not have that CD in their truck or whatever. LL Cool J.
Dude,
Mama Said Knock You Out.
Mama Said Knock You Out, dude. I freaking love it.
Dude, that takes me back, dude. I like it. Just. Dude, that whole album takes me back, dude.
Yeah, and I know we got a little bit more time, but here's something kind of interesting that was cool is, researching a lot of it. I was a lot younger then. Really, it was like a nod from his grandmother that said basically, Mama Said Knock You Out was like kind of like, hey, knock the people out that told you that they were disappointed on your last album, The Walk with the Panther or whatever. But I love the track when it kicks in and it says, "Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my peers, putting suckers in fear." And that's kind of like what Debo did, and that's where Hank, I think, got some of his bullying from. And we don't condone bullying, but Hank from Hammered Weekend, where he's kind of a bully.
Right, and I'll add to this. You didn't mention it, but probably my all-time favorite LL song, "They're Jingling Baby."
Ooh, yeah.
Dude, that song. I don't know. There's something about that song and that time period that just takes me back to good old days, man.
Yeah,
back when I was a kid.
Really a time piece, right? Takes you right back to it. There was Milky Cereal. There was Mr. Goodbar, and so many others. But dude, I appreciate you playing. I think now Mike's back up to 1.25.
Yeah, there's one thing, we got to keep this guy's head above water so he doesn't go missing. Like, and on the back of a milk carton or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? CS Metalworks. So it's C_S_Metalworks on Instagram. Hit Chris Burns and team up, dude. They've got some cool stuff going on. The ice cream van, I think it's still hitting. I'm telling you what, I'm going to be disappointed if GTA, there's kind of rumors, maybe there's a new game. I don't know. They had that whole, the contract that came out with the Dr. Dre songs and all that. But, dude, if they don't have the ice cream van in there and Chris driving it with 5 stars, right, on GTA, dude, I'm going to be disappointed.
They at least got to have something that looks somewhat like it on this next one coming out. I'm going to be pissed if they don't.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, we'll put the hammer down. But Ruben Arteaga, R.A. Ruben, dude, it's always a pleasure. And give a shout out for your C1500 page, dog.
It's C1500 Nonsense on Instagram. Hit up my page, like it, and we'll like you back. And thanks for having me on, brother.
Dude, tell Chris and everyone we said hello. And if Hank shows up there trying to put anything in the powder coat, maybe just steer him clear and tell him to get back to doing his other mischievous stuff.
Right on, man. I'll send it back to Ron on a Greyhound or something.
Exactly. All right, Ruben, we appreciate you, dog.
All right, we out.
All right, thanks again, Ruben, for coming on. We want to give a huge shout-out to AccuWear for sponsoring Trivia with Mike. AccuWear.com. You can submit a photo of your vehicle if you have AccuWear. If you don't, certainly look into it. I think it's one of the easiest systems out there to use, and we'll have Ryan back on hopefully very soon to kind of talk about some of their latest updates. AccuWear.com. Don't forget they also have merchandise, including air fresheners, for sale. All right, the scene update. So I think the big scene update right now is Severed Ties. Again, they're descending upon Severed in the Midwest. Now, I've already got all the homies, the brothers, the sisters asking, hey, where's ODB? Well, a couple things. One, I wasn't able to go this year. 100% not able to go. And I don't have as much time off. And for over a year, I've had booked to go to California next month. So barring any craziness, I'll be out in California for a Lincoln event. Also, some pop culture, hip-hop related stuff that I want to do. And that's going down third weekend-ish in September. But Severed in the Midwest is going down. This is the 30th anniversary celebration. There's going to be people from all over the country and all over the world. I talked to Toasty, former guest. He's going to be in town, of course, up there as well. If you go on Facebook and you type in Severed in the Midwest, you'll see it pop up, Severed in the Midwest 2022. It's August 20th through the 21st, so it's this weekend, and it's at the Casino Center in Elizabeth, Indiana. So to all my sisters, my brothers, everyone that's just going to be a general participant, I've seen NC chime in, RA, a lot of different clubs. Certainly appreciate everyone going out there and supporting the cause. I think I remember it was Thomas Cardinal, maybe last year or the year before. He went to the show and he sent me some photos. We were able to use those on Severed social media. If you're there and you get any photos of Severed Ties vehicles or maybe just something cool, tag the official Severed Ties Instagram and or Facebook, and we'll do our best to kind of reshare some of those. I know Vic and a bunch of the Florida guys are going up there, so safe travels. Some are flying, some are driving. Now, I've driven a long-ass way from Florida to Indiana. That was back in 2012, 10 years ago for Camp and Drag. Actually, 10 years ago this month, and it is a long drive. But, again, for people to come across the world, you also have guys coming from Oregon, Washington, driving, no brakes. Not literally, but figuratively. They're going to be there. And, of course, Matt Weathers, Pig Rig. Shout out to the big homie. He's going to be gallivanting, and hopefully he'll be able to kind of feed me some good photos, some truck smut, if you will, and then we'll get that posted. But, again, Severed in the Midwest 2022. It's in Elizabeth, Indiana. And, again, everybody have a good time. I know they're going to do the big group photo. Luckily, I was there for the 10th. I was there for the 20th. Didn't make the 25th, which I think was at Slamboree. And I'm not making this one, so hopefully I'll be ready and primed for the 35th in 5 years, give or take. So that's one of the big updates there that's going down in the scene. So I wanted to share that. Again, the hashtag I'll be glued to, Severed Ties. That'll give us a lot of good intel. The Spark Show seemed to go over really well. Adam Tripp had posted wow with a couple of lightning emojis. I like it, Adam. There aren't enough words to use to describe this weekend and how amazing it was. Bottom line was it was the 9th annual event, so next year's going to be number 10. Please, if you mark down, or if you want to go to one show that's a little bit outside what you've been to, or maybe you just want to go to something different, come to the Spark Show next year in August. It'll be the 10th annual. I got to tell myself to go no matter what. I'm continuing to build up some time, so I think that's going to help me. I would love to get back up there. I went a couple years in a row. Now, I think when I recorded last week, I said the last time I had been there was 2019. That was a fib. Technically, I think it was 2020. So I drove overnight. I think I worked from home that Friday. I worked like a half day, and then I peeled out or something like that. But I was able to make it, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Now, a lot of people are like, well, man, where's ODB been? I've made some really good progress. I'll talk about probably on the next episode with my shop at home, which is kind of my garage because I don't have a garage. I have the shop. But on top of that, I've been waiting patiently for Jimmy to bag the car with all the Devious Customs parts, including some of the air suspension pieces I got from Chris at CS Metalworks, like the Universal Air Tank and other parts. So thanks to him. Max Dooley contributed by getting me the Viair compressors, and I've got some really nice jewelry / eye candy that's going to all come together, but I got to get Jimmy to install it. He's been super busy, all kinds of crazy builds. Jimmy's running customs, you guys know. He's the man, and but once I get the car done, I'm going to feel a little bit better about going to some shows. I got a lot of money tied up in some of the things I want to do, and I got to hustle and stay focused on that. Of course, we'll be probably the next show that I'm going to be at with a car is, maybe later this year, I would hope. But if not, I got to have it by Eastbound Get Down. But I don't know if I'm going to go to EBGD. Eastbound, EBGD. I don't know if I'm going to go to that in January. Mike's trying to put a gun to my head. It was a water gun, and say that I need to pre-register. I was like, look, Mike, I don't tell you what to do. Don't tell me what to do, man. So we will see, but that's a couple things going down. So shout out to Dizzy. We had Tater on last week, and of course Adam kind of running the puppet strings over there. You had Lee Farmer. He had posted the Spark Show was great, and I love seeing all the photos from the space cabs, the blue Suburban, the full-size Chevys, you name it. Man, there's so much good stuff going on up there. So again, congratulations, guys. Craig Braid, as I mentioned earlier, he was boots on the ground up for Northwest Cruise to the Pines, and he posted a lot of photos. He sent us some, so shout out to the crew. I do want to do kind of a wrap-up. I was not able to, unfortunately, get to any kind of pre-audio. We do our best, but kind of with the summer, we're doing best of every other week, and it kind of throws a little wrench into things. But we still cover the scene the best we can, and I say congratulations to all the kinfolk. I want to say thanks to Matt Middleton. He was up there, of course, big dog Matt Middleton. He was up there signing the Hammered Weekend Wear banners, but he had the OLP G.I. Joe shirt on, right? So I really appreciate him rocking that, and big ups to Michelle for her recent success and Matt for all that they're doing to kind of represent the scene of ours. You had Relax at the Spark Show, so Justin Santos, shout out to the big homie. I don't give Justin enough credit. He's a cool dude. He knows how to drive as well. He's a good dude, and I love seeing him out there at the shows, and he had a lot of good photos, including the Boone's, Michelle Boone's toaster box. Love that thing, and shout out to Michelle and everyone that continues to represent the scene and do the damn thing. Sean Rose says, I received a special gift today from John Sweet. I truly appreciate this. In 2 years, things have changed so much from just doing a turn and burn to setting up a booth. So again, much love and success to Sean Rose. He's one of the greatest guys out there doing things for the right reason, and I can't give him enough credit. I got to get Rickety Ron Perkins on, man. He's been on the DL. Him and Hank been, I guess, gallivanting. But he posted a photo back in a Ram, little recap of Northwest Cruise of the Pines, and an accomplishment I missed 3 years ago, doing the cruise in a Ram from New York. Dude, pretty cool stuff. Shout out to Riggedy Ron. Hope he's doing well. Those are a couple of the scene updates. Again, the scene updates brought to you by the fine folks over at Garage Gear Clothing. Visit garagegearclothing.com. You say, why? Well, they have stuff for guys, ladies, children, and it's free shipping in the U.S. The holidays are coming up. Order one of those hoodies for the wintertime. Maybe get some new shirts or tanks. Get ready for next year. Whatever you do, hit up garagegearclothing.com. Now, just remember, you can go to ourlifestylepodcast.com. I think it works best on an iPhone. I wish that it worked a little bit better on Android, but on the left side of our website, you can tap on the official OLP show calendar. When you tap on that, then tap where it says here, and that will allow for you to subscribe to our official calendar. It's a digital calendar. It just downloads basically to your phone. So it's simple. It goes right into your iPhone calendar. So if I look at the calendar, and this is what I do, so I try to add this stuff as it comes up, as I see it, and if you basically go, hey, there's something coming up, you don't have it on your calendar, most of the stuff I'll add. You can email us, ourlifestylepodcast@gmail.com, or direct message me. I don't respond to Messenger a lot because I kind of don't have it on my phone, and I go on the computer here and there about once a week. I try to spend less time online, but I will do my best to add events. Now, Rides by the River, this is a local kind of morning thing for us this Saturday, and it's something that's the third Saturday of every month. I know, shout out to Kirk from No Regrets. He now lives in Land O'Lakes, so he's a Land O'Lakean patched in. It's kind of cool growing up in Land O'Lakes. Moved there with my parents before I was a year old in good old 1979. And to have another mini trucker there from another crew, like No Regrets, pretty cool stuff. So there's that on the calendar. And then the 9th, 10th, and 11th, the 9th and 10th, you have Static Nationals. That's on there. So Rogersville, Tennessee. You could go on Facebook to type in Static Nationals for more information. Maybe we'll try to talk more about that in the coming weeks. Then you have Dropped N Destroyed 19. That's going down. They have a Facebook event page, and that's the 10th and 11th. And that event is in Uniontown, Ohio. So shout out to Johnny Garage Johnson and all the kinfolk up in Ohio. Hopefully they'll make it out there. That's the event that used to be at the prison where that movie was filmed that Mike probably never saw. Shawshank Redemption. There's downtown in Laughlin, Tropicana Hotel and Casino. That's the 16th, 17th, and 18th of September. That's Seductive Minis. They have a website, and you can buy tickets. And then Cruise to the Pines in Watson Lake Park. That is now going to be, of course, on October 1st. So they talked about that before. Last Resort is the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. That's my son's birthday weekend in October. So that's kind of all we want to cover at this moment. Again, if I'm missing something, I apologize. Just email or direct message, and we'll do our best to get it added. The Key Show Updates is brought to you by our family at the West Coast Influence. Hit up minitruckfilm.com. Yes, you heard that right, minitruckfilm.com. Order a Blu-ray or DVD. Let Radar know that you listen to OLP. He might take care of you. He's a good dude. It's a documentary-style film about this scene of ours. So do us a favor. I know you're probably thinking from a OLP podcast updates, man, ODB, you haven't read any new reviews lately. Yeah, that's right, because we haven't gotten any, okay? So if you're on an iPhone, do me a favor, open the pre-installed podcast app and leave a review. You can tap 5 stars, but if you write a review, you can put your Instagram name. If you want to remain anonymous, that's okay. Just go ahead and type out whatever you want, and we'll make sure that we cover it. Now, I have gotten people asking, hey, as podcasts are on the rise, what else can we do? I'm on Spotify, I'm on Pandora. Hey, all of these different podcasts, you can go in, like I'm looking at Spotify right now, you can type on the rating, and you can tap 5 stars. That helps us, okay? You can't necessarily write a review unless you're on an iPhone or have access to an iPad or a Mac. But certainly, anything you do, there's actually 40, I want to thank the folks, 41 individuals that have given us a 4 or a 5-star review on Spotify. And we really appreciate that. We're at 4.9, and that's with 41 reviews. So big ups. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that. Now, I had hinted the last 2 weeks. Well, guess what? We got our stuff together. Last Friday, we launched the new pre-sale for the OG Mini Truckin' Magazine shirt that we're paying homage to Mini Truckin. Now, we did take off the magazine little wording that, was on that logo, and we would ask if you get a chance and you want a pre-sale, go out to ourlifestylepodcast.com. Now, the pre-sale is going to end on Sunday night, so late into the evening this Sunday, this weekend. We're going to tally those orders. Got the spreadsheet already built, enter the numbers, hit send. That goes to Brant. Brant tallies them, we pay. And then from there, we're about 2 weeks out to print. From there, they're going to, it's going to be a couple days to Mike. Mike's going to bag and tag with Mrs. Bayer, and then they're going to ship them out. One thing we always do now is when those orders are, when that box is sent from Graphic Disorder to Naples, the Murray Mansion, I blast out an email to everyone to say, hey, the shirts are on their way to us, right? Because I know sometimes you guys pre-sale, and then a week goes by, and then a couple weeks, and this and that, and you guys get that anxiety, like, man, I want to get my new shirt. Hey, rest assured, we got this down to a science. We're going to take care of you. We also have the skate deck, right? Joey at Get Decked is doing those skate decks for us. So get out there. We're going to have more merch coming, but get out there, place an order, show some love. You can even get the original Mini Truckin' Magazine style bumper sticker. We've got those for sale as well. OurLifestylePodcast.com. We want to give a huge shout out to Graphics Mafia. So if you need stickers, decals for your SEMA build, maybe you need to restock your brand's stickers, and you had somebody do it 10 years ago or you're almost out now, go to GRAPHIX Mafia.com. Hit up Buddy. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They're on TikTok. Hit them up. They will take care of you. They took a Colorado custom windshield banner, sticker, decal, whatever you want to call it, that was like 25 years old. Josh Ellis, shout out to the big homie, sent that one to me. They scanned it, and they made it like a multicolored deal for me. So, of course, my dumb ass hasn't stuck it on anything yet, and it's probably ruined, right? Because why would I want to stick it on anything? Because then it's gone, kind of. But regardless, Graphics Mafia, I got to hit them up. I need a couple more of these damn things so I can, pit them up and never peel them. I don't know what my problem is. But Buddy and Ryan at Graphics Mafia, hit them up. All right, so I waited a little while in this episode to share this, and I hate to say it. It's been a year since we lost our dear friend, really an ambassador to the scene of ours. It was Ernie Macias, and I was looking back at my photos just the other day, and I knew it was the anniversary of his passing, and I know some people were probably like, man, they didn't post it, and I'll post something this week, but it's kind of heart-wrenching because, I have all these dates saved and they pop up and it's tough, right? Because, Ernie was beloved by so many people and, we paid our respects to him. We made a little collage of kind of a video that we put on OLP's podcast YouTube channel. But, it gets tough, and it's I hate having the post the RIP stuff, especially, the many great people that we've lost. Time sometimes makes it a little easier, but oftentimes it doesn't work. So, I just say to No Regrets and his family and all of his friends and colleagues and just people that loved Ernie, may he rest in peace. Again, it's been a year since we lost him. Such a great loss for the car community, and to see what Steve's been doing. We got to get Steve on. I got to sit down with him at some point and hit him up. But to see what they're doing and the excitement and the motivation and just the amazing kind of aurora, I think is the word, that you just see glowing from that Impala. Dude, from SEMA last year to all these different events. His legacy certainly lives on, and to his boys, I wish you guys the best, and it was so comforting last year to see so many people come together on some of the GoFundMes and stuff, and just, the outpouring of support from the car community, whether it's the lowrider guys or anyone in between, especially mini truckers. But tip of the cap to No Regrets, and rest in peace, Ernie Macias. Lastly, I do want to share Jason Haymaker. So shout out to Jay. He's a good dude, local Floridian. He says, I was driving up to Mom's the other night late thinking I'm almost 50 years old and I'm not ready to be without my mom. She passed peacefully at her home this morning, surrounded by her animals, just like she had wanted. What an adventure we had. And it's sad, because we continue to get older. Our loved ones, we've seen a lot of folks pass these past couple years. So, I don't take anything for granted. I try to remind myself every day of that. So rest in peace to Jay Haymaker's mom. I think her name was Wendy Fisher Williams. Airhead Nation updates. I know that's not easy to transition from. They're brought to you by Hammered Weekend Wear. You heard us give a shout out earlier, but HAMMERD, weekendwear.com, one of those name brands in our scene, but certainly it has not happened overnight. From Ron to what these new guys are doing in terms of, just going across the country, kind of covering the areas that Ron can't. It is fantastic. So to Adam, I know Dizzy helps a lot, Adam's family. Go out there and show them some love. HAMMERD, weekendwear.com. Even if you buy just something small, maybe some stickers, they've got hats. And then also at these different shows, they've got skate decks as well with all their famous graphic disorder artwork. Shout out to Graphic Disorder, Eric, Brandt, the owner, Shelley, Brandon Shelley, the owners. Then, of course, Eric kind of there in the catbird seat, really doing some amazing stuff. But really, to everyone there, I know Andrew is so easy to work with in email when he kind of sends you what you need, and you go, hey, just this little thing, boom, done. Graphic Disorder, we've said it many, many times. This is just a shameless plug. Great people to work with. Get on their list now if you want artwork, okay? Because I tell you what, Brandon's probably pulling his hair out up there. It's good for business, but you're on that list. You're 6, 7, 8, 9 months out, right? Some craziness like that. Don't quote me on the times. Just hit them up on their website, Graphic Disorder. Shout out to the team. So I think that's it for the main audio. What I'm going to do is stick with me. I'm going to go down a little bit of memory lane and kind of share some stuff with you guys that you probably didn't know. I know you hear me talk enough, but I've been wanting to really talk about this when I purchased my Chevy S10, the 9FO S10, 25 years ago this month. I was getting ready to start Hillsborough Community College, and I want to go down that little bit of story. I think it's going to tie in. Hopefully I can get this video filmed and out on our YouTube channel that'll also tie into this little bit of a story. But I'll go over that, kind of talk about some of where I came from in terms of my truck, the rapid progression of it, and then how it ended up being finished in 2012 to debut and win Best Mini Truck at Showfest. And then, of course, really, I think it's easy to say that it was really finished in 2021 because I took it back to Jimmy's Running Customs. I think it was February 2021. Him and Tim, they did like a massive punch list and did a bunch of things that Jimmy wasn't able to do because I had to take the truck from there back in February 2012 to take it up to Big Body. So I'll kind of cover some of those details, and I think you guys will enjoy the little bit of a story, and it'll kind of fill in some of the gaps of, my, I guess to use Ronnie's word, lineage in this mini truck scene of ours. So stick with us, continue to rock with us, and we want to, again, give a huge shout-out to Custom Car Show Productions. Their next event is Slidell, Louisiana. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving. And then after that, their next event will be in the March time period, which is going to be Orange Beach Invasion, which, of course, takes place in Orange Beach, Alabama. Let's keep it going. Yo, so it's ODB. I said earlier we're going to take a little trip down memory lane and kind of give you guys the Reader's Digest version, if I can, of the Legend of Bada Bing, as I always kind of post about. Now, I know, some people will appreciate the story. Others might go, hey, I've seen the post, whatnot. What I would say is if you want to see kind of a visual, go on YouTube and type in Built to Cruise. Built #2 Cruise, and then Bada Bing. Jeremy, they came out 2 years ago, and they did some footage at the crib, and things have since changed since then. The truck went to Jimmy's about 1.5 years ago, and they did a huge punch list. But I wanted to go down and talk a little bit about the history of the truck. It ties into this time period, and also you'll hear I'm a little under the weather, so I kind of wanted to keep the content coming. I knew you guys would appreciate it, and that's what we're going to do now. So in 1997, I graduated, and I was fresh out of high school. My first car, never really talk about it, was a Ford Mustang, okay? my good friends, Mark and David, they're twins. Their dad was real successful, car lots, carpet stores. They always had a lot of money. So they kind of always had the cool stuff, right? And David had a convertible maybe in 89 and a black car I used to ride in. That was the first convertible I ever rode in. Fell kind of in love with that whole live life topless life. And then Mark had a regular Mustang, right, a hatchback. So I ended up getting that. It had a cool first car. I mean, it had a Viper alarm. It had a JL bandpass box. It had a CD player. I was on top of the world. But I always knew that I wanted to get a truck, and I've said this in the past. My dad really wasn't a wrencher, so to speak. He did have the 59 Apache that he had restored, kind of a semi-restoration. He drove that truck every day for a long time. You know, he didn't put a ton of money in it, but it was painted, engine rebuilt, stuff like that. So when it came time around, I think, 94 for me to get my license, I really didn't have the means or even a covered area at the house to really go and work on anything, right? They had a shed they had built in the 80s, and you know, that kind of actually was where they hoisted, they had a hoist on that. That's what they ended up using to put the engine, I think, in my dad's old truck and things like that. But really didn't have the, you know, the wherewithal to, you know, have the resources to do kind of things I wanted to do, because I had been reading Truckin and mini Truckin, you know, back to, you know, 93-ish. I can kind of trace my lineage back to Truckin to about 93, because I remember I still have that issue that I bought. Had dualies on the cover. I posted about it a long time ago. I'll have to dig it out. But, you know, I love those, you know, big hipped trucks like many of us do. And, you know, I remember reading the magazines and all that stuff. But basically, I get out of high school, and I thought it was August, but I actually went through this folder I haven't been through in years. And I just found this stuff. Ruben Arteaga called me tonight. We just recorded. You heard him earlier. We were just shooting the shit, and I told him, man, I dug through. According to this paperwork, it was July 30th of 97, so 25 years ago. Basically, rest in peace to my dad. You know, we go down to the A1 Auto Brokers. I had seen this truck, 94 S10, in the Auto Trader. And I had an opportunity after I had bought the Mustang to buy the truck that got me into mini trucking, which was Chris Lopez's 88 Mitsubishi Mighty Max. But of course, then I had already bought something, and I didn't have the means to go, well, I'm going to buy this other $5,500 truck. That's what it was at the time. Just didn't have the funds in our family to kind of do that kind of stuff, right? So over the course of time, I always knew I wanted to get a truck. And so basically July 30th, 97, I go down, and I had found the truck, and like I said, the Auto Trader. Auto Traders back then were like $1.25, right? And I would always look through there. You'd see mini trucks. We almost went all the way out to New Smyrna, I think it was. There was an extended cab S10 out there that was owned by a doctor, and, you know, it had stereo and a bunch of cool stuff. And, you know, for me at that age, even though I had graduated, I was a little older than when I had the car. Again, I still didn't have the you know, the resources to go, hey, I'm going to go start blowing stuff apart and things like that. I hadn't really met my buddy Paul, and I, you know, we were good friends, and, you know, he was into stereo. My buddy Mark had the Mustang. He taught me how to change brakes and stuff at an early age. So I learned stuff that way. But, you know, that's kind of what I had. My dad worked a lot. So what I ended up doing was I went and I bought this truck. Now, I only have one photo of it from, I think I still have it. I got to find it. It was clipped out of the Auto Trader. I almost threw it away years ago, and I said, nah, I should keep it, and I'm glad I did. It was actually up on this, like, rack. And it was the weirdest thing, because it was one of these racks that I guess they used to have them at car lots, where the back of it they'd push the back down, and it was like a big skateboard ramp with just two ramps, right? And then you drive up, and as it got up to the top, it would leverage over, and then boom, it would like kind of fall into place. It was the weirdest thing, and it just sat up there. And when he would back down, he'd go up in the thing and back down, and the ramps would kind of fall back, hit the ground, and you come down. It was totally weird. But basically, we buy the truck. I always thought of it as like August 97, because I was getting ready to start community college. So to kind of fast forward all this stuff, I ended up getting the truck about this time 25 years ago, and I start ordering parts. And kind of the way everything went is I start going to community college. I'm commuting in this truck every day, right? The truck didn't have air conditioning, and I was kind of frustrated with that. So they said, hey, we can have AC installed, kind of an aftermarket deal. This was a base model truck. It had the mats in it. It had the cheap, not even the Dumbo mirrors. It had the roll pan, which was kind of cool. And it didn't have AC. It came from Colorado. So I get AC installed, and I'm driving this long commute every day to go to community college. Well, of course, at this point, I start reading the magazines more, and I start figuring out what I want to do. So I found some receipts, and it's kind of crazy to think later that year I go to Topper King on late October, and I buy a topper for it. That's what I always wanted, right? They're not camper shells, right, Randy? And get the topper for it, and I start meeting people. I meet a guy that works at Buzz Off, a local alarm place that becomes Maxim down the road. Met a guy through a friend that worked at Pep Boys, but he did side work, and he's like, yeah, I can do this stuff. I can install your shocks. The other guy at Buzz Off was like, hey, we can do spindles. Come by. Boom, let's do it. So I start kind of learning, literally late 97, we start doing all this, different things to the truck. So 98 comes around, and I end up going to a place called the Price Truck Stop. It was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I think they advertised in Truckin or somewhere. And on September 21st, 98, I ordered my centerline wheels. Now get ready for this. Centerline 17x7 Cobras. Okay, a lot of guys had centerlines back then. I loved these wheels. They were $197 a piece. $788, right, total. Tires were $551. No mountain balance fees. Build antenna 25, wheel locks, blah, 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 boom. So late 98, I get the wheels, I take it to Slamfest, and, super clean truck. I meet Jordan and Fester there. They were kind of in line, and they're like, dude, this truck's super clean. And, I had like an air dam on it, lowered stereo that Paul had done, a bunch of little things. And, it was a clean truck. It really was, even, I think, by today's standards. Engine bay was super clean and whatnot. So fast forward, I end up, there's a local Sam's Club up by us, and I see this Blazer that's pretty much laid out in the front, real low in the back. I leave a note underneath the windshield wiper deal, and I say, hey, man, I'm in the trucks. My name's Jason. Dude, I dig this thing. Would love to link up with you, man, and talk trucks or whatever. So end up forging that relationship with a guy named Russ. We became good friends, met Chris through Russ, I think it was. They had been kind of exotic dreams. I think Chris was, and, Russ was into stuff. He had the Blazer. I think he had hydraulics on the front, and then eventually he bagged the back or something like that. But we became like tight-knit three homies going to out-of-state shows, Nopi 99, Nopi 2000, Showfest 2000. Boom, we start going to all these shows. But basically from there, I end up bagging the truck. It was like probably early 99, late 98. If I bought the wheels in 98, September, I don't remember if the truck was bagged, but basically because I met Russ and Chris, I met Matt Torgerson. So Matt, he's a listener. He follows us on YouTube. He's someone I call a friend. He moved from Longwood up to the Carolinas, right? And he's kind of doing his own thing, so shout out to Matt. So basically, they're like, yeah, we go to this guy Matt in Longwood, and I'm thinking, dude, that's like 2 hours away. Like, man, that's, my scope is Land O'Lakes, Tampa. Why are you guys going over there? It's like, hey, it's good work, yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, cool. So by the time I meet him, he's like, yeah, I can bag your truck, order the Pete and Jakes, 1/4-inch lines, bags, all that stuff. Bags it, again, late 98, early 99. Well, around that time, like Chris was talking about body dropping his Isuzu and other stuff, and Matt at this time has already body dropped like over 20 vehicles, 22, 24, 25. I forget what my truck ended up being, but he kind of had them numbered. And if you recall, when Randy was on recently with Tim and Todd, Randy talked about, them being some of the first body drops because they were like, boom. Matt knew what he's doing. Let's do it. Now, Matt was really good at like channeling and doing that kind of stuff. And when my truck got bagged, let's just say early 99, well, then I ended up having a body dropped late 99. And I know that because we took it off the jack stands and we drove the Blood Drag 2000, which I think he worked on it late fourth quarter 99 into 2000, and that's when he was able to body drop it on 17s and retain the air condition. I remember people in Texas going, hey, you can't do it because the AC box and, this and that. And there was, that was the era, right? Of guys going, hey, everybody was kind of figuring stuff out. So, body dropped, 17-inch wheels, topper, shaved door handles, raised C-notch, deal in the back. And boom, we drive to West Palm in February 2000, right? So everything is good. By then, I think I had sold the wheels at one point to Russ, and then I acquired them back. And I had the center lines, and then years later I sold them to, I think it was Jordan, which is Fester's brother from Florida. And I think hopefully they're still down there. I'd love to reacquire them at some point. But, basically from there, the truck gets body dropped, right? And I'm driving this truck every day. And I got to give credit to Matt, because I tell you, driving that truck body dropped every day, it was like driving at stock. I mean, it was basically, the seat, if you've ever driven a body drop truck that's channeled where the floor is raised, basically, the seat was up. It didn't have tilt steering, but the way I kind of had my seat and all that, dude, I drove that truck around without a dash in it, just with my cluster there. And, dude, it was fine. I mean, I drove it all the time. I really loved the truck. And, start getting into early 2000s and we start going, we're looking at the magazine. We need to go bigger, right? Jimmy had been doing the front end swaps. Guys in the West Coast have been doing it. And, that's when Russ and I start kind of going, man, let's take it to the next level. Russ was talking about blowing his engine apart, doing a Corvette rear end, one-off firewall. I'm talking about doing an Envoy front end, a full frame or three-quarter frame. So we kind of start pushing Matt and saying, hey, man, let's go. This guy, Kerry Iacino's out there and his team at IF and KRZ, they're doing these stock floor. That's when the term was really coming big. And if you guys go back and listen to Kerry's episode, we talk about that kind of term and how, it came about and whatnot. But I say all that because, we start really pushing Matt. And at that point, Matt takes the truck apart and, I think I took it apart and brought it to him and, it's three-quarter frame. We're going to do this crazy rear setup and all this. Well, at that point, kind of forget what year it is. We're talking 03, 04, 05. Things start to, focus on my career. I met my girlfriend at the time, who later became my wife, and, I had just bought a house in September 04. The truck was basically sitting in my carport forever, and it had the frame that Matt did and a bunch of the body work. We took it to a couple shows like that, and, it was a cool thing. And then at that time, I had already acquired my Suburban. Matt had bagged it, and I was driving that every day. I mean, the big blue Suburban, gas tank hanging down in the back, scraping everywhere, loving that thing. And forget when it was, but Matt ended up moving out of state. And I kind of thought to myself, well, this truck is like probably never going to get finished, right? And that's what people told me, but I always told myself it would. Okay, I remember people going, man, this thing is never going to get done. And I was like convinced that it was going to, right? You got to have that focus. I say that because basically when Matt leaves and he moves, I could have still taken the truck up there, but I basically put it on the back burner. I'm driving the nitrogen bottled Suburban every day. Thing is super low, super crazy stereo that Paul built. And I start talking to Jimmy because at the time, Scraping Customs, they're laying stuff out like boom, body dropped, frames, this and that. And I had came back from Showfest. I was riding in a dually that one of the severed Utah guys had. It was a white one, I think, an OBS. I want to say it was Utah. And that thing was just, dude, I got photos of it somewhere. I mean, that thing was just laid out. I don't know if they Z'd the front or what, but I mean, dude, that front was just so damn low. And I talked to Jimmy. I was like, man, I really want to lay my truck out. I got this bigger truck now. All of us mini truckers, most of us, migrated from minis to full sizes in some way, form, or fashion. And so he said, okay, cool, we got you on the list. So then time starts going by, and I'm going, I'm driving this truck every day. I love it. Why am I going to blow something else apart? Really, where's my priority? If I don't focus on the S10, what was going to happen is what everybody said. It's never going to get done. So fast forward, I think it was January, and I have to look back, 09. My dad and I, rest in peace, Papa Smurf, we take the truck to Scraping Customs. And, they bring it in. It's on a weekend. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, we got all your stuff. We know what we're going to do. We had already talked about it, full frame, this and that. He kind of convinced me afterwards because he goes, look, the caliber that you want to build this truck, if we start doing the things you want to do, we might as well build a frame. Let's do it like this. Let's do it like that. So they end up, so if you think about it, the truck was at Scrapin. Again, I'm going by memory, in January 2009. They start really getting hot and heavy a couple months later, building the full frame, cut the inside of the bed out, build the inside of the bed that lifts up, cut the entire floor, entire firewall gone. Like literally, it's the shell, the spindles, bed sides, tailgate, and the front of the bed. That's all that remains of that original truck that I literally drove every day from my house in Land O'Lakes to downtown Tampa, right? So the truck from January 2009, you go 2010, 11, and I always wanted to debut the truck at Showfest. We had been going to Showfest. Showfest had stopped after some of the issues they had kind of mid-2000s. They had brought it back, of course, at Tunica, and we took the chassis up there in 2010, blew some people's minds with the billet, the powder coat. Man, it was a lot of fun, and that's the year Don had his S10 there, and that's the old ground-bound S10. He wins Best of Show Mini. Well, 2 years later, we come back, bring the truck. I remember Don looking in it and just kind of smiling. I just happened to look over from afar, and I saw Don there, kind of kneel down, looking in there, like shaking his head, like, damn, dude, the guy did it. And it was a really good feeling because when we debuted it, Jimmy had drove Chick's Ride all the way up there. I think he charged the AC. I don't know if the AC worked the whole way up, but, dude, he drove Chick's Ride there. So we had Chick's Ride, former Mini Truck Year of the Year truck. We had Bada Bing. Bada Bing wins Best of Show. And when I took the truck out of Jimmy's that February, I had seen Big Body through Mini Truck Magazine. I had seen his work, and I said, dude, this is the interior guy. So we had made a deal. I had made a deal to take it in February up to Tennessee. My dad and I took it. We picked it up basically the Friday. So I think I took the whole week off. We were there a couple days, my wife and I. And Big Body and those guys did such a great job. They made sure the truck got done. All these little punch list things that we kind of had to present the truck the way we needed to, got done, right? So we took the truck. Again, it wins Best of Show Mini Truck. Mind blown. Of course, none of us do it for trophies. It was just like to get the truck there. Is the Sever 10th anniversary. Like, it was like all the stars aligned. But along the way, you think of like Josh Garman. He had a company called Hellbound Studios, I think it was. He painted the truck, the base coat. There was a guy, Tejano. He came and did the airbrush work that I really wanted to have. I remember, kind of seeing even Anthony's Isuzu and saying, dude, that airbrush work. There was a couple trucks in Sport Truck. I was like, dude, I love that airbrush. And Tejano came all the way over from like Daytona area to do that work at Josh's place. And, you think about my buddy Paul that built the speaker box for it. That's one thing that Big Body and them retained because that was just the box there, and then they built all the other stuff. But I tell you, Jimmy, Shane at Scrapin' Customs, and then I remember the day that Jimmy called me and said, hey, man, don't freak out, but I'm going to be branching off. It was time, and, I'm not going to go down that whole story, but basically Shane and him were doing all the work at this place, and they had this guy there that owned the shop and whatnot. And I think Jimmy, enough people had pushed him to say, dude, your work is amazing. You shouldn't have to be working here 50, 60 hours a week and, not making a decent, whatever that situation was. Hey, you need to kind of open your wings and go do your thing. And I give all the credit to, Shane and Jimmy for all the work they did early on, because all of that foundation was done. And then when Jimmy moves right down the way, he told me that day on the phone call, he says, hey man, we'll finish your truck. We got to figure this out. And, it wasn't the best situation, on everyone's part, but, Jimmy is a man of his word, and he, did so much to kind of bring that truck, to the finish line. And, I'm really appreciative of it. And even the early days with Russ and Chris, the things I learned from them, being in Severed, meeting a lot of guys, even Mitch Rawl. I remember him, helping me get, some parts and we were at the Lakefront tour one year, and he's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead. I talked to Bill. We'll call you on Monday, and you can pay for the parts. That way, you don't have to have shipping and stuff like that." And that's probably stuff for the Suburban, but just all this different stuff going through my mind, reminiscing about it. But basically, the truck comes out. When I take it out of Jimmy's, it goes to Big Bodies. After Showfest, a lot of people don't know, we took it right back to Big Bodies. He had a couple small things he wanted to do. The speakers were not mounted in the center console at Showfest. And if you look, I picked the truck up right before Camp and Drag in 2012. My dad and I drove up, loaded the truck, detailed it, whatever. And then we went to Camp and Drag, and that was the second show it was at. And it had a damn good run. And I think about, all the times with its static drop back in the day, bagged, bodied really within probably about a year, drove it daily, right? Then blew it apart. It got a 3/4 frame, never got finished, on the back burner. Then January 09-ish, my dad's birthday, take it to Jimmy's, at the time, Scraping Customs. And then you've got that 2 or 3 years of it being built there. And again, that was fantastic times. Now, a lot of people go, hey, was it like a 10-year journey? It really was, if you think back to when it really got blown apart and that 3/4 frame was built. So the trucks really had 3 chassis. I mean, there's crazy kind of story behind, each version, and you kind of got the Reader's Digest there. But thinking back and seeing that I bought the wheels on September 21st, 98, and, $788, and bringing back all these memories of the good times of mini trucking. I think the coolest thing is, you pick up the phone, you order the parts. I found all these things where I was taking the grill to get painted when I was driving it every day. And it was like all that, I don't want to say instant gratification, but it was like, it was more easily attainable. Nowadays, a lot of us wait because, we want to have good work done and things like that. And, full frames and this and that. And the stuff Jimmy's doing, people are waiting a long time for it because it's such good quality work. And that's something I've learned over time, to have that patience. But because I never brought the truck really back to Jimmy, there were always like these little bugs, and it was nothing he caused. It was really stuff I caused. Maybe the truck had overheated. Maybe there was a relay sticking on. This one little thing was leaking, this and that. So basically 2012, the truck really never goes back, I don't think, to Jimmy's. Maybe it did for just some minor thing. I don't remember. But basically last year, which was 2021, so kind of 9 years in, I had been talking to Jimmy a couple years, and he goes, hey, we were going to bring the Lincoln in. Well, I got to thinking, I was like, the S10, by then I had the engine rebuilt. So Tony's dad rebuilt it after a shop rebuilt it. And I kind of think I know what caused some of those issues. It was like the air cleaner really should have been used that was built, by Big Body and those guys, for Showfest, but, I left it on, and I think it was like sucking in debris and that's no slight against them. It just, it was my negligence, right? And I caused some kind of issues. And when you watch the Built to Cruise, you kind of see like, the truck had its woes. So the truck, goes to all these shows. It has a lot of success. The engine starts to lock up. Shout out to Vic, my homie, my brother, Vic and others. They come and help me. We take the engine out. The whole front end is one piece. It all has to come out together. We take all that out, take the engine out. Tony Boss Boland's dad, amazing engine builder. He pretty much works on big rigs, right? 18-wheelers. But occasionally Tony will say, hey, man, Jay needs this. He had just rebuilt a 4.3 for a little Blazer he had. That's what's in my truck. When I drove it every day, it had the 2.4, 2.2. Loved that engine. It was a stick shift. And the ironic thing was, again, when Russ and I started going, hey, we want to do front-end swap, engine swap, full interior, this, that, that's when I started going, well, I'm going to get a different engine. I want an automatic. I want a 6-cylinder, and by today's standards, you just drop in a 350 or an LS motor. But, that motor had been built once. Tony's dad rebuilt it again, and I kind of got through all of those woes basically a couple years ago. Tony's dad rebuilds it. I tinkered with it some. I had some issues with the fuel system and this and that. And I was like, it's a little bit outside of my expertise. At the time, I did not have a lift. And, there's a lot of custom work on that truck. So last February, I took it to Jimmy. And, we had, again, been talking a couple years. And I was kind of on the list to do a punch list. And him and they just took care of it, dude. Him and Tim, they did a ton of stuff, and because the engine was rebuilt, it was like they primed the engine. They redid the spider injector on it, which I think I had changed like a couple times. New fuel pump, cleaned the fuel lines. The valve diaphragms were all leaking. All that stainless hard line that comes under the cab. Had to get new valves. Change some seals here and there. And I mean, they just did an amazing punch list. And what was so cool was picking it up. Ron was in town from Hammered Weekend Wear, and we took his dually over and we picked it up. And, we had posted, and some people were like, "Oh, Ron, are you buying the S10? You're bringing it home?" And, we had some fun little conversation going here and there. But I say all that because, it was kind of a wild ride to think 25 years ago this month, give or take a day, bought the truck, and it's seen so many different situations. It debuts in 2012, and then, 2021, it kind of really gets finished. It's doing a burnout at Jimmy's. At that point, it really didn't even have 1 full mile on it, believe it or not. And that's crazy. But, I am pretty obsessive with things. But, I had only driven it like on and off the trailer or in and out of the trailer at the time. I had it enclosed. So, it's been a great road. And I had a lot of good times, like looking back at some of these receipts, thinking back to when my dad helped me get the truck, going to college, ordering parts from Pirate Customs. I don't know if you guys remember that place. They were up in, Idaho, I think it was. And that's where I ordered the 2002 GMC Envoy grill. That's when, I made the decision we're going to graft on this front end. They were Boise, Idaho. And, just looking back at all this stuff, the alarm I had installed and the wheels, $788. I mean, you can't even buy almost one wheel for that price now. And there's just so many good memories, and I'm just glad that I kept the truck. After my dad passed, I did think about selling it, and, I had some of those hiccups. But the good thing is, and the moral of the story, I guess, to sound like an old person, is just stick with it, right? If you got a project that you think is like never going to get done, if it's time, money, the know-how, there's plenty of people out there, and there's even more resources now with the internet. People like Ron Francis Wiring helped me out so much because I didn't know how to, make that engine run with the factory harness. Ron Francis Wiring, boom, they come in. And there's so many different companies. Colorado Custom, Bill at the time, helping out. And again, I've given credit. I continue all these years later to give credit to all these different shops and companies. And I'm sure that I'm forgetting some people. And if I am, I'm sorry. But you guys know I tag the hell out of you. You probably get sick of it. But it's been very cool. And then if you watch Built to Cruise, it won the Mini Truck Magazine 2013 Mini Truck of the Year, thanks to Ernie Macias. I think he was like that last casting vote that kind of put me over the top. And, it was a good feeling, right? To get on the cover that year. And then it was on November 22nd, 2013. It was the 50th anniversary of JFK's assassination. My dad and I were downtown. I got a call from Ryan at In the News. Ironically enough, he's back in business. I don't think it's called In the News, but he's making plaques again, Ryan Sumner. And he said, "Hey, did you get the news?" And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he said, "Well, I've got some mock-ups here." He's like, "Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to wait?" And I was like, "What's going on?" And he said, "Hey, your truck won Truck of the Year." So pretty cool stuff. Again, 2013, and, just very, very cool. The last thing that I want to cover, I know some of you guys probably appreciate the story. I'm a little under the weather, a little hoarse, as you can tell. But here's a couple things that I always get questions on. And, I guess you could kind of say, some Easter eggs, / did you know? So number one, a lot of people think that the frame is the tank. Jimmy has built a few vehicles, including Chick's Ride, the 4Runner that's kind of changed hands a couple times. The frame is not the tank, okay? What he did do is they took a tank that they had gotten through some guy that was able to get this piece of, and they welded it in the very far back of the frame, okay? Actually, it's not all the way in the back. It's before the fuel cell. So that is technically where the air is at, right? Then you have two hard lines that go over the axle, over the pumpkin, and they kind of go up and they split to right to left, right, towards the frame. And that's where you've got your feeder lines over to the valves. The valves then feed the air, of course, the front bags and the rear bags. The rear bags are inverted, so they're upside down. And a lot of people don't know this, but he came up with that idea because we wanted to make it where there was no airline coming in. The way the bars and the suspension they built, that all got chromed, that stuff, there would have been no easy way to run the airline. So with that being said, the cool thing is you look at the bags and you go, man, like, where's the airline? How does it get in there? That's one of the things I get asked a lot. I also get asked a lot, do you drive the truck? I've driven the truck some since then, and it's so awesome. I go in there, I click the little Ron Francis battery disconnect, turn it on, truck starts right up, I can drive it. I don't drive it a lot because it's really, I don't think of it as a driver truck. It's more of a show truck. I did run the wire for the taillights, for the Ron Francis wiring, but we never put taillights in it. That's one thing that eventually we'll do. We didn't do it with that punch list because we had other things we had to do. But a lot of people will look and stare at the rear, and they're like, where are the taillights? And we had this vision to run like this bar, maybe up underneath, right close to the roll pan, that would have lights in it. And you'd be able to take it off at shows or kind of hook it back on. A couple different ideas. There's a few other things I've toyed around with. I've got some ideas to kind of change it up a little bit, nothing crazy, but what I am going to do is I am going to take a break with it. The truck has been on the scene for more than 10 years, because if you think back to ShowFest 2010, the chassis and even, going to shows before, I was taking it under construction, and, a lot of people have seen it. I'm going to, put it to rest. Last year I took it to 3 shows. So it went to Mini Nats. It won an award. I think Jason Bell had given it an award, and I thank him for that. And I think hopefully Diggity Dom ended up with that award because I didn't want to accept it. I thought, hey, give the awards to the kids, the people that really appreciate the trucks. And Don, Diggity Dom, he loves Bada Bing. So thank you, Dom. Also, it went to Made of Steel here in the greater Tampa area. And then lastly, it went to Scraping the Coast. I got a chance to hang out with Tim Davis, a.k.a. TD, and we took a photo. He drove his truck over there, and we took a photo side by side, and it was just a great feeling. I got a lot of respect for Tim and so many other people in this truck scene. And certainly, again, I probably didn't name everyone, including my parents and my wife, for sticking with me. But all that stuff over the course of time has kind of made me who I am, and I really appreciate everyone kind of coming back here every week, listening to the podcast. And we just know the scene wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for all the great people, the builders, the enthusiasts, and certainly, the OGs from the 70s, 60s, 80s, whatever, you name it. There's a lot of good people out there. But again, much love and respect to Jimmy and Shane and all the people that have touched the truck over the course of time and maybe even contributed just a helping hand. I've learned not to stress things. And again, my last thing would be, if you've got a truck or something that you want to finish, a house, a shop, whatever your goal is, I think George McFly said, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And that's truly what I believe. So I think I've talked enough. You guys heard me enough on this episode. I'm tired. It's been a long week. But hey, the streak continues. We get great numbers from streams, and we can't thank you guys enough. So maybe I'll see if Colorado Custom will honor some of these throwback prices to 2009 when I bought the South Beach wheels. Yeah, right. Stay on the rise, my friends. Hopefully we'll hit you next week. Probably going to be a best of episode, and but we'll keep it fresh. Stay on the rise. We out here. Peace.